Minister, there was a pilot programme launched over 2 years ago across the counties of Cavan, Monaghan, Sligo and Leitrim. It was called Retrofit Ready. And it was basically an initiative to bridge the knowledge gap for homeowners and communities who want to retrofit their homes. And there were 2 community retrofit champions appointed, Owen McConnon in Cavan, Monaghan and Luke Tormey in Sligo, Leitrim. And basically they became the face of the project. And what they would do is they built up trust with communities and with individuals to work with them, even in holding community events and one-to-one clinics, to provide them with information about retrofitting your home. And I suppose basically we're seen as honest brokers because they weren't selling anything or they weren't endorsing anything. They were just providing a service to make sure that people understand what was available to them. And they said, especially with older people, you know, that they weren't often aware and didn't want to navigate. There can be quite complex projects or applications in applying for different projects and different grants. They organise a number of events called Meet the Builder events, where they actually invited local contractors and suppliers to come to a community setting, set up their stalls and engage with the public, advising them of what was available, costs attached, timelines attached, and even tradespeople who could deliver the works. So word of mouth spread and lots of people engaged, and it was a very, very successful project. I mean, there were many people they met there who weren't aware that if you were in receipt of the fuel allowance, that meant you could apply for the Warmer Home Scheme. There were actually people there who didn't know that they qualified for the fuel allowance in the first place, and by qualifying for that, then they were able to access the Warmer Home Scheme, but also the SEAI grants and so forth, and everything that was available. They did point out, obviously, the Warmer Home Scheme, while it's a great scheme, the waiting list is still quite long at 1.5 years, and I thought it was something that, you know, maybe that we should be looking to invest in, because there are a lot of older, colder houses out there, and especially now with the cost of energy rising on a continual basis, people would be willing to retrofit their homes, but sometimes they are a bit worried about the process and how to fill out the application forms and who to engage with and so forth. So this provided a great service to people there. And I suppose I'm conscious then that we are facing significant penalties from the EU if we don't meet our climate targets in the next few years. And so we need to do, you know, if we could invest that money instead in the schemes like this to get more people involved in retrofitting their homes, it would benefit us in the long run. Hugh Wallace, the TV personality and architect, actually attended the concluding conference of this scheme, and he actually endorsed it and felt it was a really, really worthwhile scheme. And I think he had been involved in projects as well. I think it was a retrofit in his own house, and he was in the houses that are built of stone. We still can't, provide proper insulation for them. So there's lots of learnings to come from this project. And I'm just asking you, Minister, it was a pilot project. Is there a plan to review this project and to roll it out then on a permanent basis, not just in the 4 counties involved, but across the nation? Because I think it would be really worthwhile.
Senator, and with your permission, there's a vote in the Dáil, so I'm going to give you an abbreviated answer, because I think you make a very good point. There is merit in what you're saying in terms of the extension, and you'll get the overall reply as well. But since 2019, over €1.5 billion has been provided to homeowners for 228,350 home energy upgrades. As you know, Senator, the retrofit programme is a community-led home retrofit project funded by Minister Bryan, who's I'm taking this for, and I suppose it has been awarded almost €500,000 since it commenced in October 2022, and the point being, in terms of retrofit, serves, as you know, 4 counties, Monaghan, Sligo, Cavan, Leitrim, and is developing a community retrofit service, which I think is allowing for homeowners to be able to navigate access to retrofit grant schemes. And I think the point you made is that there is a waiting time, and we must make it easier for homeowners to be able to avail of this grant and the schemes. And I think many of us are very conscious of the whole piece around retrofit champions, which you referenced in your contribution, fuel poverty, and the need to have awareness campaigns around that. And I will certainly bring your concerns back to the Minister and to the Department in terms of the need to extend it nationwide. There are targets being set at a national level in terms of the Climate Action Plan and the installation of heat pumps. Equally, there is a road to travel, and I suppose what we must do is to ensure that collaboratively and collectively we must make houses warmer, more comfortable, and as you said, less expensive to heat given the rising costs. But I'll bring your points back, Senator. They are well made. I think the points you make are relevant more and more today, in particular given the need for us as a government, but also society, to adapt and to make sure that we do adapt to climate change and retrofit houses more. Gramadus.